Paul, going back for a moment, why did the club feel the need to get rid of a highly successful, experienced coach in Wayne Bennett and replace him with what is a rookie coach who'd coached 1 year in first grade and sign him to a 6-year deal?
Yeah, 5-year deal, Gal. Look, I'm not going to go through the ins and outs of Wayne's exit from the club, but needless to say, that's been well documented. And the reasons around that. So, you know, I'm not going to spend tonight talking about that. It serves us no purpose, and I don't think it serves anyone else's purpose right at the moment. But the reason we went with a long-term deal, you say Anthony was a rookie coach, but he had been in a number of systems. He'd had that good first year at South Sydney. They wanted to retain him, so there was some market competition there to bring him to our club. And they want to retain him on a longer term deal as well. But not only that, if you pick a coach and you want to stick, you've got to be able to give them the time to, you know, reshape the systems, I guess, and also the squad and the way things are done. And that does take some time. We had a good back end of last season. We finished, you know, not in the circumstance we wanted. Again, we had a great pre-season and we started the season really well. So. We've had some ups and downs, but now's not the time, you know, 6 weeks into a restarted season to be, we're supporting our coach, but we're not going through song and verse every sort of interview as to, the reasoning consistently around that. We want to give him time to build a club and to find his feet, and that was the decision around it. That's Paul, the reason the decision was made.
Paul, it's a bad business, though, not to put a get-out clause in to protect yourselves in such a long-term deal?
No, look, there's performance measures in every contract, Danny. So to say that there's no performance measures in Anthony's contracts, certainly not true. But you know, our job right at the moment is to support our coach. It's been a really tough 6 weeks. It's been an extraordinary set of circumstances leading into the season, and that's not to make an excuse, because some of the clubs are playing unbelievable football on a level that perhaps we've never seen before with these new rule changes. So some clubs have adapted really quickly. We're not one of those. But I'm confident. The one thing I know about Anthony, he's got great work ethic. He does listen. He'll listen to people. He'll take advice, and he'll reflect on the last few weeks, and he'll have to make changes, and he will make changes.
Paul, it's a stumbling block to sacking him, the fact that you'd probably have to sack yourself, the chairman would have to go and the whole board would go, because it's been such a poor decision, at least from this point of view?
No, Danny, I don't agree with that proposition.
Tell me this, Paul. With the COVID restrictions, the players and coaches are in a bubble. Has the coaching staff been reduced during this time, and how much access are you actually getting to dealing with your coaches on a face-to-face basis daily?
Yeah, well, that's been one of the real difficult things about this period of time, and we haven't been able to sort of have any access to our players or our coaching staff. When they set up those bubbles, there was a limited amount of people that could be or participate in those, and that was really your key football department staff and your entire playing roster, your top 30 and the support people around that. So there's even people employed within the footy department that weren't in that bubble, and that's still very heavily policed. We've still got an NRL representative here, and we're fully compliant with that. But what that means is that face-to-face access to the players that you normally enjoy, face-to-face access to your coaches and your coaching staff has almost been removed, that's made it challenging. And I guess we haven't handled the restart of the season. I don't put that down as an excuse, because, as I said, some clubs have done it tremendously well, but I guess we have struggled a little bit there, Gus, in terms of, you want to provide as much support as you can for your coach and also your players, and that's best done face-to-face rather than through text messages or phone calls. It's those little conversations that happen all the time around footy clubs that are important, and that leads to, I guess, the health of the club as well. And sort of that's been missing over the last 6 weeks. And when you're on the wrong foot and you're losing games, the fact that the players have limited access to, I guess, other people within the normal club environment is a bit problematic. But we're one of 16 clubs that have all put our hand up, and we continue to comply. We've just got to find a way through this tough period.
All right, well, Paul, being brutally honest, sitting from the outside looking in, like we're miles away. We can only see what we see on TV, listen to what we listen to in the media. This whole thing looks as though the club is melting internally. It feels like you're overwhelmed by the whole situation. Everyone looks really down at the moment. I mean, you've lost 6 games of rugby league. No one's died yet. It's only football. Who is going to lead you out of this? Who are you looking for in the club that's actually going to stand up and say, look, I know the way out of this. Follow me and let's go. Because it is only football. No one's died yet. A lot of clubs have been through this rubbish.
Yeah. No, exactly, and we, as a club, we've been through it before as well. So it's not the first time as a club we've been through it, and that's one of the reasons that we've consistently come out providing support for our players and our coach. But I think you need multiple leaders to get you through it. I don't think it's a matter of one boat putting up the mitre and saying, follow me. I think we've got a young leadership group, and I think a heavy responsibility rests with those guys. I think Alex Glenn, over the last couple of weeks since he's come back, Alex, is a leader by his actions, and I think he'll be, at the front end of that. But players who probably aren't performing to their full potential, and you know who those guys are, And Anthony Milford, has the ability to actually lift this side and take it to a new level when he's at his best, and he's not at the moment. And I know he'd be hurting as much as all the other players. So I think it's a combination of us all. But you're right, Gus. I think we do have to lead with a sense of positivity. And part of the work that I'm trying to do, particularly with the coach in the first instance, is reinforce some of the points that you make. And the other thing too is, at this time with plenty of adversity being thrown upon us, it's a great opportunity for him and his players and the coaching staff to really learn some lessons. And if they learn the lessons, if they take that on board from a positive sense, they'll actually be better for it. So there is opportunities in these dark times, within the 4 walls of the club. I mean. We're not down to the point that there's no optimism here. Like I said at the start, we've got a great playing list. We've been interrupted with injuries and I guess some suspensions. When we get our full list back, and starting this weekend, there'll be no excuses if we don't put a performance on against the Bulldogs. And we want to win a game of footy, but it's more than just winning one game. It's about getting a bit of momentum and giving ourselves a shot at this season. So one win's not going to turn it for us, but it'll certainly release a little bit of pressure. And I hope that comes on Saturday night.
Paul, thanks for coming on, and all the best in the lead up to that match against the Doggies.
No, thanks, James. Much appreciated.